What a mess. Ooh, I'm getting anxiety just looking at this. Bye, buddy. We'll see you in a little bit, okay? We'll see you in a bit. Friends, welcome back to another vlog. In this particular vlog we are doing a whole week of vlogging, so pray for me. I'm going to try and just record little snippets every day this week. Now this week is a pretty busy week for me because we are towards the end of January, which I cannot believe. First month of 2025 is down already. And usually towards the end of each month, I start working on a lot of Patreon stuff. So this week I have a lot of Patreon stuff to do. I am designing new concepts. I am coming up with some downloadables. I need to film a video for Patreon. I just have a lot of Patreon stuff to do. So this week is going to be a lot of Patreon related stuff. I figured that it would be cool to just take you guys along during this week because I have a lot of just on my desk stuff to do. So I figured it would be nice for you guys to get a little sneak peek of a full-time content creator, illustrator, and what that looks like. Also, on that note, this week I am starting my first treatment of IUI. I have shared here on my YouTube before that me and my partner are trying to conceive, and with the support from my fertility doctor, we have decided that IUI is the better route for us. I had an ultrasound done last week, which I was able to start my medication treatment for IUI, and I have another ultrasound this upcoming Thursday, and they're going to see if the treatment that I was, or the medication that I was taking, did actually help, and to see if I am ovulating, and then we're gonna go from there. So I just thought that I would just share that information because that is something that is happening this week. Me and my husband are staying hopeful that that is the best route for us, so we will see how that goes. So that is what is happening this week, friends. I really hope that you enjoyed this vlog. Please remember to like, subscribe, engage with my videos, watch the whole video through. That really helps out my channel with the YouTube algorithm. It truly does a huge difference. So thank you so much for spending this time with me, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the vlog. Good morning, friends. It is Wednesday. I didn't get a chance to film yesterday because I was just doing video editing, so I figured that that was going to be boring, so I literally did that all day yesterday. And then, to be honest, I just haven't been really feeling too well. I feel like I'm just having a little bit of side effects from the medicine that I've been taking for my IUI treatment. So I've just been taking it slow. Even on Monday, I wasn't feeling my best, and I didn't get to record too much after whatever I ended up recording on Monday. I forgot. So yesterday was a day full of editing, and then when I finished editing, I made a dent, or I started a new knitting project. If you've seen my last vlog, I was working on a skinny scarf, and I'm still working on that, but I noticed that I'm just not using the right type of yarn for that particular scarf. I didn't realize that the yarn that I'm using is wool, and so the scarf is coming out pretty chunky. Pretty chunky. However, I did start a new knitting project. It's another scarf, and I have made some pretty good progress on this, and this is what I was doing also yesterday after a day full of editing. I just wanted to unwind. I was watching some true crime on Netflix, or what was it on? I forgot what it was on. And I was just knitting my scarf, okay? I started a new scarf with a better blend, and I'm really happy with how this is coming along, considering that I'm a very much beginner crocheter. But today, friends, I do need to work on some Patreon stuff, so that's what I'm going to be doing here. Today also, the new Barnes & Nobles has its grand opening, the one that's local to me. Like I mentioned before, it's been closed down for the last handful of months. I am not really looking for anything in particular. I have been very picky with my book choices that I purchase. So we'll see if anything catches my eye, but I'm curious to go see how the new setup is looking and the new location. But other than that, that has been so far the week, friends. I'm going to go and work on some Patreon illustrations. I need to work on some illustration concepts, and then we'll go to the bookstore a little bit later on and check that out. Let's see. Hello, good morning, you guys. It is Thursday. I am trying to hurry up because I have my doctor's appointment in an hour and it's about almost 40 minutes away from here. I have my second ultrasound today to see if the medicine that they gave me has worked. So I'm hoping that everything goes well. So I'm gonna go do that, but before I leave, I wanted to share with you guys the two books that I ended up picking up yesterday at Barnes & Noble's. Now I will say that Barnes & Noble's was so busy yesterday, you guys. I get that it was the grand opening of my local location, but it was so busy. It felt like a Black Friday. It felt like a maze. It was super crowded and I was just getting very anxious because there was just so many people there. I couldn't comfortably look at the books. It was nice, but I'm excited to explore it a bit more because I couldn't really explore it that much yesterday. But I did end up picking up two books. I guess I'll start with this one. I ended up getting On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I've talked about Ocean Vuong before on my last vlog because I picked up their poetry collection from Half Price Books. I've heard of Ocean Vuong, I've read some of Ocean Vuong before, and I love their writing style. This is more of a memoir, I want to say. He's basically writing a letter throughout the entire book to his mother, which seems like he didn't have the best relationship with her, so he's pretty much just writing a letter to his mother. And I read it briefly for a little bit, and oh my gosh, you guys. As someone who has also, I suppose, voyage through her own relationship with her mother, with ups and downs, I already know that this is going to be a tearjerker. And the way that Ocean Vuong writes is just so beautiful, so lyrical. He has a way of narrating or telling stories very beautifully. I think I have the other one here. This is the other one that I picked up not too long ago, which is Time as a Mother. This is a poetry collection, so this is more of memoir, I want to say. The next book that I picked up is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. Now, I love cozy fantasy, and this is one of the, I guess, newest releases in the cozy fantasy genre. This follows Tao, who is an immigrant fortune teller who's traveling between villages, and she tells small fortunes until one day, I believe, she tells a fortune that actually comes true, and it kind of takes her through a whole voyage. That's pretty much all I know on this book. I've been seeing it everywhere, been very highly recommended within the cozy fantasy community, so I'm very excited to get into this. I don't have a lot of cozy fantasy books, so that is why I decided to purchase a physical copy of this, because I definitely want to expand my cozy fantasy collection. So I'm excited to get into this one. So I'm gonna put on my shoes, head out, and then I'll give you guys an update a little bit later on. I do have some work to get done today, but yeah, happy Thursday, everyone. friends, welcome to the end of the vlog. It's actually been several days past whatever I filmed. As I was sitting here and editing this video, I realized how I said in the beginning that this video was going to be a sort of a week vlog where I show you guys behind the scenes about what I do as a illustrator and whatnot, and that was just not the case. That was just not the case. There was so much happening this week. I feel like I probably picked the wrong week to film this kind of video. There was so much happening with doctor visits and me doing solely just Patreon stuff. And I realized also how much I just really don't necessarily like filming week-long vlogs just because I can't keep up with them. For me, it's better to just film a vlog for one day and that's that, because then I forget to pick up my camera and all that kind of stuff, and then you get videos like this. Needless to say, I really hope that you guys still enjoyed this video. It was still very much fun to film. I got to visit the grand opening of my local Barnes & Nobles. I was learning how to do a zine, as you guys seen in this video, which is for my patrons. I don't feel like the vlog went as I imagined or expected, but I still enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys did too. But I figured that before I close out this video that I could at least talk to you guys about some books that I read in the past couple of weeks that I've really enjoyed. I have, since this year started, finished 3 books already that are, well, 2.5. I'm still currently reading one that I'm still very much enjoying, so I guess I'll start with the one that I'm still reading. And that is When My Brother Was an Aztec by Natalie Diaz. This is a collection of poetry. You guys seen me, if you've seen my last video, you guys see me pick this up at my local half price books. And this was highly recommended by my sister. This is a very tragic and devastating collection of poems about Natalie Diaz's brother who struggles with addiction. And she tells the story of her brother struggling in poetry format, but also in a way that is very lyrical and combines mythical gods and deities from Aztec culture. But not just Aztec culture, but I suppose male figures that are big names. She compares, or she uses these big names to sort of mesh them with her brother's life story. This explores family dynamics and how even their family struggles with accepting the struggles that her brother is going through. I'm still in the middle of reading this. I will say that there is a lot of triggers obviously in here because we are following someone who has an addiction, so just be wary of that. But something that I truly do appreciate about this book is the beauty that it takes for a writer to write about something so personal and so sensitive that has happened to them or their family. It's not easy to write about our burdens or our struggles or our pain, and the way that Natalie Diaz does this is just so beautifully written that it makes you feel a sense of agony, but also it is done in a way where you understand that pain. It is not just words on a paper, it is actually a storyline that is coming to life, and I really love that. So I'm still in the middle of reading that. I only have a few pages to go, so I'm excited to finish that. The next book that I finished reading, or the one that I did finish reading a couple of weeks ago, it is Young Hag and the Witch's Quest by Isabel Greenberg. This is a graphic novel. It is a pretty chunky graphic novel, and this is the first book that I started reading this year, and it was just a breath of fresh air. This is exactly what I needed to kick start 2025, especially because I was in a huge reading slump. This basically follows Young Hag, and Young Hag comes from a line of witches, and she's being shown the witch's way by her grandmother. But it is also a sort of retelling of King Arthur or Knights of the Round Table. And in some way, Young Hag is connected to King Arthur himself, though she doesn't know that in the beginning of the storyline. And she goes on a quest that her grandmother sort of bestows on her to try and reunite the very magical King Arthur's sword back to the proper person so witches can regain the power that they lost when the sword was lost at one point. She goes on a huge adventure with magical creatures and just funny characters. I really enjoyed it, and plus the illustrations on this book are just so vibrant, so beautiful. I love a book with beautiful illustrations. That's just like my weak spot for me. So I finished that, and then, as you guys seen, I started reading the audiobook for The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I also have the physical copy with me, but I decided to just pop it on audiobook because I did have a pretty busy week. And you guys, I mean, I'm a huge fan of T. Kingfisher. I absolutely love their writing, but I wasn't sure that I was going to super enjoy The Twisted Ones just because it seemed interesting, but it didn't seem interesting as her other works that I've read before. And I really enjoyed it. It is a horror book, so it has a lot of horror elements, of course. And even though it was horror, and trust me, I got spooked plenty of times while reading or listening to the audiobook. But the way the thing that I really enjoy about T. Kingfisher is the way that she tells her story. Even though it is supposed to be, or it is a horror novel, she incorporates humor into her writing. She incorporates just, I'm not sure how to even describe it. It's sort of like, it is a horror novel, so the anticipation is real, the spooky elements are real, but it's also kind of quite like a relaxed environment that she invites us into despite these bigger things happening around in the storyline. And I think that's because of how she writes. I think it's because of the humor that she incorporates that makes the reader a little bit more settled, a little bit more calm to enjoy a horror novel where spooky and real things are happening. But in this story, we are following Mouse. Mouse is an editor, and she is tasked with cleaning out her grandmother's house where her grandmother and her step-grandfather lived, whom both have passed away. Her father asks Mouse if she can go sort of clean out the house because they're going to either sell the house, or I don't know what they're going to do with the house, but they just need to get rid of everything that's inside of it. So Mouse goes to this place, and she didn't have the best relationship with her grandmother. She didn't really know much about her in general. So when she's there, she encounters some very interesting things that are relating to her grandmother, but also her step-grandfather. She ends up finding this sort of journal that belonged to her step-grandfather, where he's basically saying how much he disliked his wife, Mouse's grandmother, and how she stole the book from her. He talks about this particular book, about the Twisted Ones, and how he recorded all of his knowledge on the Twisted Ones on this book that his wife, Mouse's grandmother, stole from him, and how he disliked her and how he keeps seeing the Twisted Ones. So Mouse becomes very intrigued with this journal that she found, and she's on the hunt for this sort of book that he keeps talking about in his diary. So of course, one thing leads to another, and she starts encountering very strange things in this town that is related to the Twisted Ones phenomenon. You have some very quirky and interesting characters or side characters in the storyline. I love that this follows Mouse and her dog, so that's a beautiful little relationship because you guys know I love dogs. But Mouse just confronts a lot of terrors that are happening around her grandmother's house. This was quite the spooky read. I really enjoyed the audiobook, so if you guys don't want to read the physical book, I highly recommend the audiobook. So that was that, you guys. I really enjoyed this one too. So that has been what I've been reading for the last couple of weeks, what I've finished, what I'm still currently reading. But I figured I would just share that, considering that this week's vlog was kind of wonky. So hopefully me sharing about my books or what I've read sort of makes up for that. With that being said, friends, thank you so much for joining me in this week's vlog. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I truly appreciate your support. Please remember to like, subscribe, engage with my videos. It truly goes a long way. Remember that you can create the life that you want because you so deserve it. I will be seeing you in another video very, very soon. Until then, friends, take care and bye for now.